I'd like to thank Goodman Coffee Roasters for being today's sponsor. So once you understand those purposes and those risks, that usually helps you really define the clarity behind the project you're moving forward with it and why you're moving forward with it, because it's tied to a purpose.
Welcome to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages, with your host, Matthew Shipp. This is the podcast for all of those who are involved in the agriculture all the way to the distribution of beverages. And now your host, Matthew Shipp.
Hello and welcome to the Workshop Minute from Harvest to Pour. I'm your host, Matthew Shipp, and today we're going to explore an interesting subject I heard about on another podcast, and I actually stopped the podcast. I didn't want it to influence what I thought about this comment. And what it was is this person mentioned that startups tend to hide in the abstract. And as I thought about that, I was like, I think a lot of businesses, not just startups and corporations, hide in the abstract. I think it's the full spectrum. And, they mentioned how, the first I mentioned briefly about how the corporations hide in the abstract. And well, what I was thinking about was, when you hide in the abstract, you really are grabbing on to a goal or a project idea, and nothing actually is happening. You just keep on talking about it and cheerleading it, and still nothing's happening. And so it's a situation where companies, set goals, get excited during the planning session, workshops, but fail to really follow through. And they leave the room, nothing gets done. As it just kind of floats there, it's an easy way to kind of use it as an excuse to kick the can down the road. What happens, the reason why they're kicking the can down the road is usually a situation where nobody was truly assigned the task. It was maybe assigned to a small group of people, but nobody was the assigned individual. And I'll probably talk a little more of that as well. So in my own experiences, and I think this is why it resonated with me, corporate distraction often leads to assumptions and stagnation. So this was not in a corporation, it was a very small business. I was coaching a small shop. And on the simple thing that the staff wasn't clear on how they could push beyond their job descriptions. This is what we kind of discovered in my workshop. This led to the manager trying to handle everything and becoming very much overwhelmed. And it was just, what unlocked it was, once we unlocked and discovered that they were afraid to do anything beyond their job description, the owner was able to alleviate that worry and that fear by letting them know they're allowed to make mistakes. And this led to an increased job retention and income for the shop over the next 3 months. Now, larger corporations, big ideas get passed down through management and often get lost in translation. And months later, someone might ask, hey, what about this project? And everyone has forgotten about it. It even existed and wondering, what's going on? Am I supposed to be doing stuff towards this or not? And again, it's the excitement about beginning and the excitement of the end can also often overshadow the necessary work in between. And sometimes this is called the messy middle, the part that nobody really, the actual work. I've seen this happen when I was in research, and a lot of big things would come down from the corporate leadership, and everybody get excited, and there would be some movement for a couple of months on something, and then it would just kind of fade away, and then something new would come up. Everybody get excited. And so you had these layering of projects, and pretty soon some of them will come. You'd hear about some of them that just died off and you didn't know about it, and you were still partially working on it, and it had to come down the line. And who knows how long you were working on it. So how much time have you wasted, money and company's time have you wasted, and your own time working on something that was put to the axe months before you even knew about it. This is really challenging, especially in these long-term projects like research. So, and it's also, I think what happens to leadership is they kind of miss the vision or the goal towards the vision after a time. Things shift and move, and it takes time for this to trickle down. And it often happens when leaders are juggling too many long-term projects and haven't truly identified the benefits to their vision, and they haven't prioritized those projects properly. And so they're now pursuing all of them at once, or they're layering them, one after the other. And this leads to the lack of transparency and urgency for many projects. So everybody's just left going, okay, where are we on this? This is a continuing thing. I mean, historically, there's been different forms of transparency given and projects and the way other companies manage projects. So one way is Apple under Steve Jobs was known for his secretive culture. So decisions were made by a small group of leaders at the top with information compartmentalized. The benefit of that, they felt, is the ideas that provided to the teams with only the necessary information so they could focus on tasks at hand and be more innovative with the issues because they would be less influenced by company politics. So all the what was expected, since they didn't have that access to that information where they were going next, they focused in on their one thing, and any problems they ran into, they had to innovate ways around them, which would often spin off great new ideas. Now, on the flip side of that, Whole Foods, under John McAfee's leadership, implemented an open book management system, sharing financial information with all the employees and involved them in many company decisions. Now, what this did is it gave the employees a sense of ownership by involving them in decisions, and employees felt a stronger sense of ownership and connection to the company's success. Now, these two businesses are vastly different, being a tech company and being a foods and market company. And each business will have to assess how they want to deliver that transparency, but also not get lost in the weight of projects coming down and identify which projects they need to move on initially. And that holds true for both of these, both for Apple and both for Whole Foods, irregardless of how they share that information. And this also comes true through experts have studied this. So Ethan Bernstein, he's an associate professor at Harvard Business School, and talks about the transparency paradox. His research suggests that too much transparency can sometimes backfire, leading to less experimentation and innovation. Like I mentioned with Apple, they tightly controlled how much information certain groups got. Again, so if they ran into problems, they had to be more innovative and experimental around solving them. Now, on the other flip side, Daniel Goleman, a psychologist and author, emphasized the importance of transparency in building emotional intelligence within organizations. He argues that transparency fosters trust and improves organizational performance, which is very much like what the Whole Foods did by opening up all the financials and using the team in decision-making processes. They had a tighter knit community and culture that helped improve their performance. And now a word from our sponsor. Hey, do you have that friend where when you're excited about a new coffee shop you've discovered and you take them there and you're excited for them to try the coffee and they take a sip of it and look at you and go, it's just coffee. Well, I think I've discovered a coffee shop that'll definitely change their mind on what coffee is. Goodman Coffee Roasters honors coffee's rich heritage by partnering directly with farmers, ensuring every sip tells a story of dedication and craftsmanship. From hand-picked beans to perfectly roasted batches, they bring coffee that's more than just a drink. It's a journey. Integrity, sustainability, and uncompromising quality are in every cup. Coffee lovers can experience the Goodman Coffee difference at goodmancoffeeroasters.com. And trust me, your friend will take a sip of this coffee and finally understand what it means to have something that's more than just coffee. Are you a business owner looking to optimize cash flow and manage growth? I'd like to introduce you to Ray Jetton from J. Galt Financial Suite. Ray specializes in helping your business build a robust corporate credit profile based solely on your employee identification number, your EIN. This allows you to stop bootstrapping, avoid personal guarantees, and protect your personal credit and assets. Imagine your business standing strong with its own credit, completely separate from your personal finances. So have you ever checked your business credit report? It's public information, and Ray is offering a free business report for you. Just respond with your official business name as it is listed with the Secretary of State. Ray would love to dive deeper into how he can support your business. So visit his website to download a free ebook on building business credit with your EIN. When you do, use the word harvest when booking a call. Remember, your EIN is more than just a registration number. It's the key to unlocking a world of financial opportunities. Ways that corporations tend to hide in the abstract. And I want to reiterate that both Apple and Whole Foods, if they hid in the abstract, nothing would have gotten done. They had one piece on the end of it. They had execution by their team with a finite amount of information or the team with all the information. So there's several ways corporations hide in the abstract. they'll assign tasks to a committee without clear leadership. So they'll have a group of 5, 10 people saying, make sure these things get done, but no real point person, nobody held accountable. So it's just in a group think. And within that, people assume assignments. And once you come back, people are pointing fingers. Well, I thought this person was doing it. I thought this person was doing it. Also, when especially from corporate leadership, when they hand down project ideas and executions, they tend to use complex jargon that confuses rather than clarifies. And you can say a lot with a lot of big words and not say anything at all. And if your management teams or even your teams in general are left to translate this jargon, then you have many different interpretations of the project going in several different directions. And if it's never tied back in, eventually they fade into oblivion and the teams just go back to their normal task at work and that project gets lost. Also, holding workshops where plans are made but not executed. I like to call this workshop theater. So what happens is everybody's in a rah-rah kind of mood, and the leadership sort of pins the responsibility or the accountability on a third party that came in to run the workshop. And once that third party leaves, no one knows who's in charge, leading to communication breakdowns, confusion, and silo creation. So it often happens that mistakenly a coaching or consulting team will come in, help set up everything, and without their momentum being there, it all falls flat. And that goes back into assigning the tasks clearly in leadership. So how do you, this also can impact the stakeholders. So this kind of abstract behavior can leave employees feeling lost or disconnected from the company goals. Customers lose trust and loyalty due to the lack of communication, because if you have confused employees, you probably have confused customers. And investors and shareholders are left in the dark, which can affect their confidence in the company, which is just a downward spiral for most companies. So some of the best practices how to get out of this abstract thinking. They need to create actionable and specific mission statements that are assigned. What purpose and what are the risks? So understanding that is the first step in clarity towards handing these project ideas down to your team. Establish clear leadership for the tasks. Simply communicate, avoiding unnecessary jargon. Set goals and tasks that can be tested in short form to understand what works and what doesn't, eliminating assumptions and refine the path and the goal. So you want more frequent accountable updates on the progress of the project. This can help you eliminate what's not working and keep what is working and move forward with a much more focused and refined roadmap towards the goal. And also, again, ensuring that follow-up after planning sessions and workshops. And this also holds true for the leadership that assigned this as well as the management. So there needs to be a tiered system of reporting and on a regular and timely basis. So it can't be whenever the C-suite and whenever the management and lead management happen to have the time. If they're treating it that way, this isn't a project that would prioritize very well. So some companies that stand out as models, transparency, and clarity, these companies often involve all levels of employees in decision-making process, maintaining open lines of communication and follow through on their plans. Now, I know what I said about Apple, but it's still the definition, the projects had to be funneled down to that team, even though the information was tightly kept, but they received clarity on their information. Also, by identifying the purpose and risk of each project, leadership will better be able to prioritize and be much clearer on the project intended outcomes. This should also limit the number of projects assigned. Finally, by appointing clear accountability to team leads with clear milestones and realistic deadlines, a better transparency between leadership and teams will be established, resulting in more nimble execution. So once you understand those purposes and those risks, that usually helps you really define the clarity behind the project you're moving forward with it and why you're moving forward with it, because it's tied to a purpose. The risks are understood, and that will help you better translate these tasks and these projects to the team executing on them. So in summary, it's easy for corporations and some businesses of any, I don't say corporations a lot, but this is true for any business, to hide in the abstracts, doing so they can have a detrimental effect on those stakeholders. By striving for transparency and clarity, companies can improve their performance and stakeholder relationships. So I hope this helps kind of clear that view about why this stood out to me by corporates, and I say all businesses tend to find themselves stuck in the abstract. It's really exciting to talk about new projects and new ideas. It's another thing to have clear goals and then have clear execution on them throughout the team and the communication and the transparency that follows that. I want to thank you again for tuning in to listen on my thoughts on how corporations and other businesses hide in the abstract. If today's discussion resonates with you and you find yourself or your leadership team taking on too many projects at once, I love to help you prioritize and identify the best projects for your profit. So I offer a special session called a Business Bottleneck Breakthrough, where just in 40 minutes, we can uncover the key challenges to your business should be focusing on. This session will provide you with clarity and direction needed to tackle the most impactful projects first, because you can't create a project if you don't understand what the challenge is in the beginning. So if you're interested in learning more about booking a session with me, you can visit my website, mberrysolutions.com, or reach out to me directly at matthewshipp@mberrysolutions.com. These will all be in the show notes. And we'll love to work together with you to transfer your business from bottlenecks to breakthroughs. But remember, taking the first step towards clarity and focus can make all the difference. I look forward to hearing from you and helping your business achieve its full potential.
Thank you for listening to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages with Matthew Shipp. Check the show notes for our guest contact information and connect with Matthew Shipp on LinkedIn today.